Coffee that'll make you feel like a VIP. Wilton Benitez. Colombia Tabi VIP. TM. Or maybe not TM yet. Can you TM coffee? What's up, fellow Drops fans, fellow fans, and fans of coffee, coffee lovers everywhere. My funnel that I forgot was right here. My name is Haley. I am your local resident neighborhood Q grader here to talk to you about this delicious, freaking awesome experimental process, Wilton Benitez Tabi VIP. It's a Colombia coffee. It's super delicious and complex and just honestly mind-blowing. Before I get into it, you'll notice that I am not brewing as I am beginning to talk to you because I want to let you know how I'm going to brew it because there are a lot more steps this week to brewing. This is roaster suggested. Thank you, JBC, for suggesting this. They've been brewing it and loving it at this recipe and ratio, and then I also brewed it and loved it. So I wanted to share it with you guys. This is going to be a timed pour brew, meaning I'm going to pour at specific times, which, as you know, I don't typically do, but again, roaster suggested. So what I'm going to do is I'm using 25 grams in of coffee. I'm using 205-degree water. I'm going to end up at 390 grams out. What I'm going to do is pour up to 65 grams for the bloom, let it bloom for 30 seconds. At the 30-second mark, we're going to do 130 grams, pour up to 130 grams. Then at a minute, we're going to pour up to 195, then at 130, up to 260, then at 2 minutes, up to 325 grams, and finally at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, ideally, we're going to pour up to 390 grams. If you're not matching up with those times, like if it's, if your drawdown time, your drip is slower, like you can't really pour because it's not dripping fast enough, coarsen up your grind. If you're experiencing the opposite, if the bed of grounds is drying out before your time comes up to pour, do the opposite and make the grind finer. I am grinding at a 6 on Gen 2 Ode, which would be about a 5 on Gen 1, and a 7 on Ode with SSP, so leaning into the medium coarse range. More suggestions for Opus is on our brew guide, on our blog post brew guide. Also, I have V60 suggestions from the roaster on that brew guide, as well as espresso suggestions too, but I'll get into the espresso suggestions at the end of this video. But check out that blog post for the V60 suggestions too, a little bit different than the Stagg suggestions, and I think you'll really dig them. Cool, so let's get started. Like I said, here we go. So I'm going up to 65 grams first for that sweet, sweet bloom. All right, and then I'm gonna let it bloom for 30 seconds, and while that happens, I'm gonna try to get into a little bit of why this coffee is so cool. First of all, Wilton Benitez has a background in chemical engineering and also decades of coffee growing experience. That paired together makes amazing room for experimentation, and this coffee does. It is really amazing. So second pour at 30 seconds, or about 30 seconds, I'm going up to 130 grams. There we are. Cool. All right, and how it's processed, this VIP lot, this exclusive to fellow VIP lot, it's a 96-hour fermentation, and then it's pulped, then it's yeast fermented for 48 hours, then it's washed and dried on a curve actually for 46 hours. At a minute, getting back to the brew recipe, I'm going to 195 grams. I want to make sure that I am spot on. 196, I'll take it. As I said, the roaster also suggested espresso recommendations for all of you espresso lovers out there. I hear ya, I love espresso too, and I'm going to work to include espresso in everything that I do from now on. Going up to 260 grams on this pour at about a minute 30. All right, 259.6. I am 4/10 off. Anyway, so getting up to 2 minutes here. I'll give you the espresso suggestions a little bit later. We're getting down to the wire. So I'm going up to 325 grams. And you'll notice that on a couple of these pours, I'm a little bit after time. That's because I could have possibly ground a little bit coarser in order to make for a faster flow rate. But I honestly like it at this grind setting a lot. So I'm just going a little bit past the suggested pour times because also I'm a rule breaker. Coffee is an art, not a science, right? All right, last pour, I'm going up to 390 grams at about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And we will be in range to complete. Cool, 390 grams, and we'll let this draw down. Your total brew time goal set by a roaster by JBC. Thank you again, JBC, for suggesting this brew guide, the V60 recipe, and also espresso parameters. Thank you for working with me on that. The total brew time for this coffee will be about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Ideally, it's going to be, you want it to be a quicker brew. Mine's going to come out right about that time, maybe a little bit over. I'm going to venture a guess 3 minutes and 35 seconds, if not right at 3:30. Looking like it's finishing right at 3:30. So, espresso suggestions, as I promised before we get out of this video, JBC suggests a 1 to 2, or if you want a little bit of a thicker shot, a little more viscosity, 1 to 1.75 ratio. So you're looking at a 20 grams of coffee in to 40 grams out if you're doing that 1 to 2 in 25 to 35 seconds of total brew time, total shot time. You're going to want to look for a 7 to 10 second start. So you want a 7 to 10 second drip. And you're going to want to do 25 to 35 seconds total. If you're seeing a longer shot time to get to that 40 grams, a longer time than 35 seconds, I would pull it back, make it a little bit coarser. If you're seeing a shorter time than 25 seconds to get to that 40 grams, I would go in the opposite direction and make it a little bit finer, again, with micro adjustments, right? Thank you so much for joining me this week. As always, it is easy to order from Fellow Drops. All you have to do is text us back the number of bags that you would want, 1, 2, 5, 10, however many. You're going to want to get this exclusive lot that is super complex and just super juicy and creamy and black cherry and rosemary and all this really delicious stuff. If you don't want this coffee, however, don't text us back. We won't charge you or send you coffee. I have been and will continue to be Haley, your local resident Q grader. Thank you so much for joining me on this brew guide adventure, and I will be here next week, same time, same place for the next brew guide. Leave us comments and questions in the comments section. Thank you so much, y'all. Cheers.